Okay. So for our next web project, we're going to be making a site on a particular aspect of an artist or a mock company, and we're going to try to keep it very simple. I've chosen to work with Caravaggio. He's one of my favorite Renaissance painters. Um, he was a very visceral painter, making very real the violence of his subject matter, even if it was fictional violence in Medusa or beheading by Judith of Holofernes. So I'm going to use these as my three subjects, and it's going to be the blood of Caravaggio is my site. Imagine very focused theme of my site. And I'm going to make a mood board using Illustrator. And so the first thing I'm going to do is in Illustrator, I'm just going to make a new document and work in 8.5 by 11 for now. I can change the size of the artboard if necessary. And the nice thing is in this blank space, I can just quickly copy these images and paste them in there. And they're massive, but I can quickly reshrink. I'm holding down the Shift key to maintain aspect ratio, right? And I'm going to get my three paintings, but I'm going to do something fun. I'm going to create some studies by using the crop tool. All right. So I have my three paintings here. And what I want to do, though, is I want to make, I want to kind of emphasize like the mouth agape in all three paintings of the victim, if you will, right? So I'm going to copy and paste this, all right? And I'm going to use the mask here, and I'm going to just cut this down so I can focus in on the victim and create my, whoops, study, right? Again, I'm going to mask. This one is pretty much a study unto itself, but why not? Let's get even closer. I click away and then click back, and now I can do this. Almost theatrical version, right? And one more. It's a little bigger. Mask. I also would probably do the same for the actual perpetrator of the execution to happen, right? I don't think I have Perseus available though. So I'm kind of annoyed with having to shove everything in this space, and so I'm going to use what's called the artboard tool. I'm just going to expand the artboard to my liking right now. And then I can always make it smaller later. It doesn't really matter for the sake of, I'm not worried about an output size for this particular project, right? And I can start to arrange things. And next, I'm going to try to generate a color palette based on the paintings using a tool we've used in a previous class called coolers.co. So I'm going to go back to, let's use this, start with this painting. I'm going to copy this image address and go to coolers. And I'm going to generate a palette, use the generate tool, and it's going to do the default. But instead, I'm going to pick colors from an image. I'm going to paste the image URL and say OK. And you can see it auto-generated. We can just, there we go. And I click the auto button. and I can keep clicking it and see it until it gets something I like. I want to make sure some red's in there. Let's work with that. And I say OK. And the cool thing is I can use the export. Since I'm working in Illustrator, I can generate an SVG, which is a set of vectors of all the colors. So I can quickly take these colors, and now I'm going to make them smaller right off the bat. And place them in here. All right. And that can be my potential palette. But another way of working might be to use the eyedropper, right? If I want to generate a particular, let's say I want to see if I can get this darker green, which now I've created, all right? Or I want to have copy paste another one and generate one of these off-whites, all right? And so I can move these around and kind of organize them if I want. I can quickly resize them all too. And work with them here. And then the last thing I'm going to do for now is I'm going to work with another tool, because this project is going to ask that you potentially work with an icon. I'm going to use the noun project and do a search. And I'm going to search actually for the word abstract, because I don't want to try to define something specific, but just some of these possible icons. Let's say I like this. And to get the URL for the specific icon, I actually like to use Twitter because it gives you the specific URL. Like the share icon it's annoying. It doesn't give you the link, the direct link. So, but there's your specific URL. And you want to save all your URLs. And then once I download this, I can also download an SVG. And I'm going to give credit because this is a project that I'm doing for the sake of class. But I'm going to do a very good job of documenting all my sources so that I can ensure that and I could imagine, say, and I can use that eyedropper and try the colors, right? And you can imagine this graphic possibly becoming part of an overlay, whoops, of a painting, right? But I could try others too and see which ones work. And so the goal is, and just remember, 2 typefaces too. Do some ipsum lorem or some faces, and I want you to pick a couple typefaces. And I have another tool for that one too. So you could search for other icons that might suit you, right? I would encourage you to pick at least 2 or 3 that you can envision playing with in the context of your site. Some of you that have more specific, maybe product specific, if you go the direction of a company, right? I like this. This is kind of cool. And I'm just kind of mucking around and trying different things. Oh, you know what? I got to do this. Let's try the red and the blood. And we can imagine generating this kind of icon. That one's not working very well for me, but let's try this one. Oops. So I encourage you to do that. And then last, I forgot about this one, which is you can play with, I want you to work with a font pairing, like a primary font pair. And the link to this experiment that someone put together based on a Google font pairings is back on our course site in our resources page, which is right here. And you might find a font pairing that works for you. Let's say, not that. Too many font. And you could work with these typefaces, right? That you know that you'll end up using as part of your font. And for now, I don't recall at the moment how you can download typefaces for mockups, which I'm sure you can, just blanking. Or I haven't done it yet. And we'll do that later. But I could have these typefaces included as well in my mockup. Oops. All right, my mood board, okay? So I would probably keep working on this to kind of make connections. I would probably do studies of textures like this red drape and this red drape. I would make more studies and kind of make this more complex. And when you're done, you effectively can export this as a JPEG or PNG. It's up to you. And I'm going to get rid of transparency. And I have my Caravaggio mood board. All right. And once I have that, I can post that as part of my blog. Okay? And that's it.